This is your host, G.I. Wingnut, and this is going to be the first episode in a series that's probably going to have at least 12 parts to it. We're going to be looking at things that happened in 1952 and how they are continuing to influence our world today. So let's take a look at a couple of things. First off, I want to start out with a big shout out to Laura over at Magical Mystery Church for making me aware of this publication. And also a shout out to my mom for instilling an insatiable curiosity in my brain. We're looking at a book called A Planned Deception, Staging a New Age Messiah by Constance Cumbey. As you can see, we're over here on page 27, and I'm looking particularly at this concept of the Aquarian path. And I'm going to run through this list. It's going to be something that'll be edited on occasion, but I want to go ahead and get this portion of it laid out because this list is going to be sort of the outline for the direction that I'm taking this series. So let's go ahead and get started with this. The Aquarian Path. Quote, the Aquarian path exists to encourage the inner development of the individual and harmony in daily living. For this reason, it includes articles on all branches of esoteric and Eastern philosophy, occultism, mysticism, and allied subjects. By precession of the equinox, the sun appears at the vernal equinox to be passing through each constellation of the celestial zodiac in turn, completing the whole cycle in approximately 25,800 years. At the present time, it is passing from Pisces into Aquarius, from whence we derive the name Aquarian Age. The Aquarian path seeks to anticipate the coming of the new 2,000-year cycle. End quote. So Constance writes, I own a rare-bound set of 1952 issues of the English New Age Networking magazine. It is published by the Aquarian Society, an English New Age federation of occult organizations. That statement would fit as well as any modern New Age magazine. It would also have not been out of place in a Hitlerian era periodical. They too believed they have launched the new age of Aquarius. As interesting as the philosophy were the associations, the magazine issues show that at least as of 1952, the following New Age organizations, among many others, were harmoniously networking. Now, we're going to actually get into this Theosophical Society bit today on the corresponding Fellows Lodge. There's also the Rosicrucians of San Jose, California, New Spiritual Council, Society of Friends, the English Quakers, the Buddhist World Publications, The Voice, with editor Joseph Busby, Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard, I got plenty to say about him, World Goodwill, Lucius Trust, there's plenty to say about that one too, Pasadena Theosophical Society, the School of Hermes, Midland School of Self-Knowledge, Universal Association of Affiliated Brotherhoods, the Institute of Pyramidology, Rosicrucian Fellowship, Max Heindel, Oceanside, California, the Anthroposophical Society under founded by Rudolf Steiner. That's an interesting story too. And the Working Mosque, which I don't have much on at the moment. But let's take a look at what I did find over here. So, as you can see, I got on my Brave browser and I looked up Theosophical Society Corresponding Fellows Lodge. And, well, I have to admit, I was disappointed at the distinct lack of information available. Although it is available if you want to order it, I suppose. Um, I have not pursued that yet, although I might well. It depends on how things run in the future. But as I was scrolling down through the search results, I ran across this. And I thought, well, that just might be an interesting direction to go when discussing the Theosophical Society in reference to their connection with this New Age Messiah. So let's go over here and get a gander at this. I've already kind of browsed through it a little bit. There is some material that I will skip over, but you will definitely have the opportunity to be able to pause and read what you want to. And I will also provide the link for this this document in the community tab on my YouTube channel. If you're watching this on BitChute or on Rumble, the link will be in the description. Actually, before going any further, I did go ahead and scan through this whole document, and there are large chunks that I will skip over. I will mention those as we get to them, but let's go ahead and get on into reading the memorandum, because that is the key portion of the document we need to look at. And a lot of the things that I'll be skipping over are going to be like organizational rules and regulations, the political structure of the Theosophical Society. Beginning of the Memorandum of Association and Rules and Regulations of the Theosophical Society as incorporated at Madras, India, 1905. Now, I know that this isn't exactly 1952, but I think it's important to understand the overall concept and structure of the organization to get an insight into where they came from and where they might be trying to go with things. So, Memorandum of Association, etc., Certification of Incorporation, number 2 of 1905. I hereby certify, pursuant to Act 21 of 1860 of the Governor General of India in Council enacted, quote, an act for the registration of literary, scientific, and charitable societies, 1860, end quote, and that the Theosophical Society is duly incorporated as a society under the aforesaid act. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that name. If somebody wants to give me a phonetic breakdown of how it works in the comments, I would be great with that. Anyway, Station Madras, Registrar of Joint Stock Companies. Joint Stock Companies. Interesting. Dated 3 April 1905. The Theosophical Society, founded 17 November 1875, incorporated 3 April 1905. In the matter of Act 21, 1860, of the Acts of Viceroy and Governor General of India in Council, being an act for the registration of literary, scientific, and charitable societies. In the matter of the Theosophical Society, Memorandum of Association. Number 1. The name of the association is the Theosophical Society. Subcategory 1. To form a nucleus of the universal brotherhood of humanity without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color. Subsection number 2, to encourage the study of comparative religion, philosophy, and science. Subsection number 3, to investigate unexplained laws of nature and the powers latent in man. A, holding and management of all funds raised for the above objects. B, the purchase and or acquisition on lease or in exchange or on hire or by gift or otherwise of any real or personal property and any rights or privileges necessary or convenient for the purposes of the society. Well, that was a mouthful of legalese. C, the sale, improvement, management, and development of all or any part of the property or the society. And D, the doing of all such things as are incidental or conducive to the attainment of the above objects or any of them, including the founding and maintenance of a library or libraries. Wow, you know what? That sounds a whole lot. That sounds a whole lot like the Scientology strategy to me. But as I mentioned them earlier, we will get to them later. And number 3, subcategory 3, number 3, the names, addresses, and occupations of the persons who are members or and form the first council, with which is the governing body of the society, are as follows. And I'm just going to kind of let that scroll by kind of slow. A lot of names there I don't even want to try to pronounce. Although there is a name down here on this list. Bertram Knightley, or Kitely. The name sounds vaguely familiar. But yeah, there was this Rudolf Steiner. I mentioned earlier that he plays an interesting part in the story. He actually gets mentioned in that 1952 list. We're going to have fun when we get to him. In addition, there's more, and there's the founders. Let's go ahead and start with back in with number 4, the founders. Henry Steele Olcott, who, with the late Helena Petrovna Blavatsky and others, founded the Theosophical Society in New York, or at New York, United States of America, in the year 1875, still hold during his lifetime the position of president with the title of President Founder, and he shall have alone the authority and responsibility and shall exercise the functions provided in the rules and regulations for the executive committee, meetings of which he may call for consultation and advice as he may desire. All right, well, number 5, income and property applied to promotion of objects. The income and property of the society, whencesoever derived, shall be applied solely towards promotion of the objects of the society as set forth in this Memorandum of Association, and no portion thereof shall be paid or transferred directly or indirectly by way of dividends, bonus, or otherwise by way of profits to the person who at the time are or have been members of the society, or to any of them, or to any person claiming through any of them, provided that nothing herein contained shall prevent the payment in good faith of remuneration to any officers or servants of the society or to any members thereof, or other persons in return for any services rendered to the society. Number 6, members of the General Council not answerable. Members of the General Council not answerable. No members or members of the General Council shall be answerable for any loss arising to the administration or application of the said trust funds or sums of money, or any damage to or deterioration in the said trust premises, unless such loss, damage, or deterioration shall happen by or through his or their willful default or neglect. So just do the minimum to get by. Vesting of number 7, vesting of property on dissolution. If upon the dissolution of the society there shall remain, after the satisfaction of all its debts and liabilities, any property whatsoever, the same shall not be paid to or distributed among the members of the society or any of them, but shall be given or transferred to some other society or association, institution, or institutions having objects similar to the objects of this society, to be determined by the votes of not less than 3/5 of the members of the society present personally or by proxy at the meeting called for the purpose, or in default thereof by such judge or court of law as may have jurisdiction in the matter. So if there's anything, if they dissolve and there's anything left over, it just gets handed over to some other affiliated association or society, institution or institutions. Interesting. I think that, and now this is just my opinion, but given how much therapy that survivors have to go through after getting out of these things, that stuff doesn't come cheap. Working through all that stuff, it doesn't come cheap. And so I'm digressing here. Number 8, filing of rules and regulations, memorandum. A copy of the rules and regulations of the said Theosophical Society is filed with the Memorandum of Association, and the undersigned, being 7 of the members of the governing body of the said society, do hereby certify that such copy of such rules and regulations of the Theosophical Society is correct, as witness our several and respective hands this day, March 1905. And again, there's a bunch of names here that I'm not going to try to pronounce. And when it comes to the rules and regulations, rules 1 through 18 deal with the actual political structure of the organization. So at this point, I am going to go ahead and jump on down to rules 19 through 23, because those are of interest to me. So as promised, we jump all the way down here to rule number 19, receipt of monies. All subscriptions, donations, and other monies payable to the association shall be received by the president or the treasurer or the secretary. The receipt of any of whom in writing shall be sufficient discharge for the same. So it's your top 3 members of the association that would receive all the monies. Number 20, deposits, signatories, the securities and uninvested funds of the society shall be deposited in the State Bank of India in Madras, or such other bank or banks as the Executive Committee of the Theosophical Society shall select, and in countries outside of India, in such banks as the President shall select. Checks drawn upon the funds shall be signed by any two of the following: the President, the Treasurer, the Secretary, and any other persons appointed by the President for the purpose under Rule 12. Rule number 21. This is where it gets kind of nifty. Rule number 21, subcategory A. Notwithstanding anything in these rules to the contrary, the President may, touching the assets and affairs of the society beyond India, at any time and from time to time, by power of attorney, appoint any persons to be the attorneys of the society for such period and subject to such conditions and for such purposes and with such authorities and powers as he may think fit, and he may, if necessary, affix the seal of the society thereto. Continuing, without prejudice to the general powers conferred as aforesaid, the President may grant power and authority, among others, to sell, grant mortgage, lease, or otherwise transfer the assets of the society, movable or immovable, real or personal, and to receive subscriptions, donations, legacies, monies, and other property, movable or immovable, and to institute, continue, compromise, compound, or refer to arbitration any actions, suits, or other proceedings, and to take and hold shares in any company, and to vote at any meetings thereof, and to subdelegate all or any of his powers, and to give receipts and release, and and to sign, seal, and deliver any instrument or document, and have the same registered. Wow. They really want to make sure that this power of attorney has some like massively blanket coverage. Wow. Okay. Moving right along. There's investments. Category B. The funds of the society may be invested by the President with the advice and consent of the Executive Committee in governance or other public securities, unit trust of India, term deposits in scheduled banks, fixed deposits and bonds of Government of India undertakings, or in the purchase of immovable property or first mortgages in such property. So they're allowing themselves to invest into and make money off of any government undertakings that might be bonded. Or yeah, interesting. Disposal of Adyar estate. Now, I thought this was rather interesting, and this is going to get back to, I'm going to stick a pin in this. Disposal of Adyar estate. C. The Adyar estate of the Society in Madras, including the Society's original headquarters and all other properties in Adyar, since acquired by gift, purchase, or otherwise, shall not at any time be disposed of by sale, gift, exchange, mortgage, or otherwise. say that the president, if specifically authorized by a resolution of the General Council, passed by 3/5 vote of their members, voting in person, in writing, or by proxy, may dispose of such outlying portions of said Adyar estate as may be specified in such resolutions. We'll come back to Adyar estate in a moment. Transfer of investments and other properties. D. The president may, with the advice and consent of the executive committee, sell, mortgage, or otherwise transfer any investment in government or other public securities or any movable or immovable property of the society other than those mentioned in Rule 21C. So, investment in government. I wonder if that includes like super PAC contributions towards politicians' campaigns, or if that might be more directly involved in like lobbying the government, or is that actually investing in like the military-industrial complex, for example, like other public securities, like Lockheed Martin publicly traded stocks on Wall Street, as well as potentially investing directly in the companies that might be doing research and development for Raytheon, for example. Directly linked to I don't know. Maybe I'm thinking too far outside the box, but maybe I've just looked at CIA stuff for too long. Anyway, back to this document. Number 22, affixing of seal and signatures. A. All deeds whereby immovable properties belonging to the society are transferred or otherwise dealt with shall have affixed to them the seal of the society with the signature of the president and or the secretary. In case of the absence of the president or secretary, of where the executive committee finds that either of them is by reason of disability caused by accident, illness, or otherwise unable to act, it may appoint two of its members to sign in place of the president or secretary, as the case may be. So, as I understand that, they're saying if we can't have either the president or the secretary do it, we can appoint two board members to speak up for them because of their inability to act, and therefore we can no longer delay. I could be wrong. I don't know. What do I get? No, I grew up in a cult. Just a cult that focused on business. Anyway, movable or it was Assemblies of God, by the way. Transfer of movable property. B. All transfers of movable property, if in writing, shall bear the signature of the president and of the secretary, but need not be affixed to them the seal of the society. In case of the absence of the president or where the executive committee finds that he is by reason or disability caused by accident, illness, or otherwise unable to act, it may appoint two of its members to sign in place of the president. Note, the procedure detailed in this rule is without prejudice to the powers conferred under Rule 21A. So this one is saying that president and secretary, or two members of the committee and the secretary. I don't see a way of, that they've set out to deal with the absence of the secretary, though. Maybe the same thing might apply if the president could be there and the secretary can't. That's not clearly specified in the rules, as I understand, as I'm reading them. Let's see, and then the last part here that I found interesting, and then we're going to skip down a bit, is rule number 23, the president may sue. The society may sue and be sued in the name of the president of the Theosophical Society. All right, so I'm going to skip over rules number 20, rules 24 through 26 because they're just more organizational rules. 27. Permission to reside. The president shall have full power and discretion to permit to any person use of any premises or portion thereof in the Adyar estate for occupation and residence, in which or in such terms as the president may lay down, or to refuse permission so to occupy or reside. Any person occupying such premises under the permission granted by the president shall, on a fortnight's notice, that's 2 weeks, given by or on behalf of the president, unconditionally quit the premises before the expiry of that period. When circumstances warrant it, the fortnight's notice may be dispensed with, and the person shall quit immediately when required to do so. So, you break the rules bad enough, and they can give you a 2-week notice, or they could just boot you right out. All right. They reserve the right to refuse service to whoever they wish. Fair enough. Number 28, eligibility for membership. Every person of 10 full years of age, without distinction of race, creed, sex, caste, or color, shall be eligible for membership in the society, but those under the age of 18 shall be admitted to membership only with the written consent of a parent or guardian, and shall have no right to vote until they have reached the age of 18 years. Okay, well, Scientology will take them as young as 9. See, I'm seeing a lot of parallels here with like the residency, like on gold base, or if they get in punishment and get sent off to RPF, which is their prison camp, basically. I forget what the letters stand. It's a rehabilitation program. You know, you break the rules, you get sent off to the farm to work off your punishment. But here they're saying that a person has to be at least 10 years of age and up until the age of 18 have consent of a parent or guardian. And I'm wondering if a member, like in Scientology, if a member of the organization might have guardianship over a minor, you know, because a fellow parent member might be off doing something, and so the child has been passed off on guardianship. I wonder if it would work there. Anyway, I know, sometimes I think too much. Number 29, admission to membership. A, admission to membership may be obtained through the president of the lodge or branch, the general secretary of a national society, or through the secretary, and a diploma or certificate of membership shall be issued to the fellow, bearing the signature of the president and countersigned by the general secretary, where the applicant resides within the territory of the national society, or countersigned by the secretary if admission to membership has been obtained through the secretary. B, admission to membership shall be at the discretion of the national society or the international secretary, as the case may be. Membership date. C, the date of membership will begin 1. When admission has been made through the general secretary, regional secretary, organizing secretary, or presidential representative from the date of acceptance by the general secretary, regional secretary, organizing secretary, or presidential representative has entered by him and duly reported to the secretary at Adyar. 2, or subcategory 2, subsection 2, when admission, C2, when admission has been made through the secretary from the date of acceptance of the application by him, and so recorded in his office. D. Members may not be full members of more than one lodge or branch at a time, but may be accepted as affiliate or honorary members of lodges or branches other than the one in which they are full members. Affiliated or honorary members may possess such rights and privileges as are accorded to them by the lodge or branch in which they hold such membership, but they shall not be founder members of new lodges or branches. But if a member becomes a founder member of a new lodge, he must become a full member of such lodge or branch, and shall relinquish full membership in any other lodge or branch. Affiliated or honorary members may not be counted in the international records or vote in international elections other than through the lodge branches in which he may hold full they may hold full membership. All right, that's a pretty standard cut and paste format. That works for motorcycle clubs as well. And then E, without prejudice to the provision of Rule 10, no member in good standing for less than 2 years shall have the right to vote in elections and other matters pertaining to lodges, federations, regional associations, national societies, or other duly constituted bodies of the Theosophical Society. In the case of newly formed lodges, branches, or where the civil code or corporate law prohibits restrictions on voting rights, the General Secretary or National Council or Committee or International Secretary, as the case may be, shall have the power to waive the requirements of this rule. Where such waiver becomes necessary, alternative safeguards may be provided to ensure I lost my spot. To ensure that the character of the society is preserved in all its duly constituted bodies and properties safeguarded. Okay, that's a little slipperier than your standard cut and paste rules and regulations for membership, but it still kind of makes sense. But it's slippery because, they can throw a waiver in there on that 2-year membership requirement on voting rights. So anyway, when it comes to rules 30 through 40, those are all about organizational rules on franchising. And then 41 through 43 are about money. So let me take a peek at that. So if you want to, here on rule number 41, you could pause the video and go ahead and read all that information. It's pretty cut and paste as far as the president, secretary, and treasurer shall together have the power to fix or vary fees and charges payable to the general treasury of the lodges. And then rule 42 is fellows at large, or members that aren't actually directly connected. In Scientology terms, it might be public Scientologists. They're at large. They live amongst society, but they still do their program. But what I did find rather interesting, I did want to go ahead and address number 43, that the national societies, the fees go to ADYAR. That's like that would be like the celebrity center for. Anyway, I'll get to the Scientology stuff later. I know I keep dragging it in, but it's been one of those keys that's helped me unlock a lot of this stuff. But anyway, number 43, National Societies. Fees to Adyar. A. Each national society shall pay into the general treasury 15% of the total amount of fees payable by members to the section and shall remit the same to the treasurer at Adyar on or before the first day of March of the current year, and the fiscal year of the society shall close on 31st of March. Presidential agencies dues. B. Notwithstanding the provisions of Rule 41A, Rule 42, and Rule 42, the President, at his discretion, may authorize presidential representatives to collect dues in territories to which they have been appointed and to remit in accordance with Rule 43A. Now, I do want to go ahead. I don't know that I necessarily am going to read through this part of it on rule number 44, but it's very specific charter rules. And I'm going to kind of just scroll through them real slow so that if you want to, you can pause and read it for yourself. But it's pretty much like with a motorcycle club. If you break the rules, the main organization can cancel your charter, or they can revive your charter, or they can transfer your charter to another power structure they put together. But we do need to go ahead and look at rules 45 through 47. Rule 45, financial accounts. The financial accounts of the society shall be audited annually by qualified auditors who shall be appointed by the General Council at each annual meeting for the ensuing year. Interesting. Oh, we're going to pick our own auditors. Yeah, we're going to audit ourselves. Yeah, okay. That makes a lot of sense. Number 46, annual general meeting. The annual general meeting or convention of the society shall be held at such time and in such place as shall be determined by the executive committee in June of each year. But such annual meeting or convention must be held within 9 months of the close of the society's year and may be held outside India not more than once every 3 years. National societies desirous of inviting the convention and able to make due arrangements for its accommodation shall send invitation at least 12 months prior to the convention with particulars and arrangements they propose to make. And then rule number 47 is the World Congress. Not more than once every 7 years, a World Congress of the Theosophical Society may be held at a place and a date to be fixed by the General Council, but so as not to interfere with the annual convention. And then there's some other extra rules about special meetings and bylaws, and then you get into the appendix. And it just kind of fritters out from there as far as my personal interest goes. Anyway, I hope that you have found this informative, and I am ready to look into doing the next segment. I hope that you all made it all the way through, and thank you. I hope that you'll give me a like and a subscribe. And please, by all means, share this information. Please do share this information, especially if you found it informative. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. And remember, mental health matters. And nobody can devalue you unless you let them.
I will not be pushed, filed, stamped, indexed, briefed, debriefed, or numbered. My life is my own.
For official purposes, everyone has a number. Yours is number 6.
I am not a number. I am a person.
6 of one, half a dozen of another.
Is this what they did to you? Is this how they tried to break you till they got what they were after? In your heads must still be the remnant of a brain. In your hearts must still be the desire to be a human being again.
This is a most serious breach of etiquette.